The WWII secret that beat blankets and saved soldiers. Cold killed quietly in World War II. Not with explosions or gunfire, but with numb fingers, frozen feet, and bodies that simply ran out of heat. Armies learned fast that bravery doesn't stop hypothermia. What saved lives wasn't always high-tech gear or thick wool. It was something almost embarrassing in its simplicity, an everyday material that outperformed blankets, weighed almost nothing, and could be replaced anywhere on Earth. And, once you hear why it worked, you'll never look at cold weather survival the same way again. This is frontline wisdom, the kind learned the hard way. Why blankets failed when it mattered most. Blankets look warm, they feel comforting. But in the field during World War II, they often betrayed soldiers. Wool absorbed moisture from snow, sweat, and rain. Once wet, it lost insulation fast. Add wind, and body heat vanished even quicker. Soldiers moving, digging, or marching couldn't stay dry. Static warmth was a luxury. Mobility was survival. Commanders needed insulation that trapped heat without trapping moisture. Something that worked even when layered under uniforms, boots, or coats. Something disposable, light, and everywhere. That's where the forgotten insulator stepped in. The paper barrier that beat the cold. Just plain paper, especially newspaper. Soldiers stuffed it inside jackets, under shirts, around legs, and even inside boots. It wasn't official issue at first. It was field improvisation. And, well, it worked frighteningly well. Paper traps air. Lots of it. Air is the real insulator, not fabric. When layered, paper creates countless tiny pockets that slow heat loss. Unlike wool, paper doesn't collapse under pressure as quickly. It forms a stiff barrier that blocks wind and reduces convection. That's the killer in cold environments. Paper also absorbed some moisture without becoming heavy. And when it failed, you replaced it. No drying, no repair. Tear it out. Stuff more in. Frontline units quickly noticed fewer cold injuries among soldiers using paper layers compared to those relying on blankets alone. Why this worked better than expected. The science is simple and ruthless. Heat escapes three main ways: conduction, convection, and radiation. Blankets mostly fight radiation. Paper fights convection and conduction at the same time. Wind strips heat by moving warm air away from the body. Paper stops that airflow. It creates a still air zone right against the skin. Even thin layers stacked together outperform a single thick blanket in windy conditions. Paper also spreads pressure evenly. Boots packed with paper kept feet warmer because circulation wasn't crushed, like with tight socks. Soldiers reported less numbness and fewer frostbite cases during long marches. This wasn't theory. It was battlefield trial and error. How armies quietly adopted it. By mid-war, the trick spread without manuals. Veterans taught recruits. Medics recommended it. Supply shortages made it unavoidable. In ruined towns and abandoned buildings, paper was always there. Newspapers, packaging, maps, even forms. Official doctrine lagged behind reality, as it often does, but survival knowledge moves faster than paperwork. Soldiers who lived through one winter didn't argue with results. Paper insulation became a quiet constant across multiple theaters of war, where cold was just as deadly as the enemy. Weight mattered more than comfort. Blankets are bulky, heavy, slow to deploy. Paper, though, weighs almost nothing. You could add or remove layers instantly, depending on what you were doing. Moving fast? Just remove some. Digging in for the night? Go ahead and add more. It's kind of interesting, because it's something modern outdoor gear markets heavily today, but soldiers solved with trash and ink. But World War II proved that redundancy beats perfection. Paper insulation teaches three brutal truths. First, insulation works best when it's layered and adjustable. Second, wind protection matters more than thickness. Third, replaceable materials outperform fragile gear in long-term scenarios. In disaster zones, refugee camps, or power outages, paper is still everywhere. Cardboard, newsprint, packaging, the same physics applies. Layer it under clothing, block airflow, stay dry. This isn't nostalgia, it's applied survival math. Why this knowledge faded away? After the war, abundance erased improvisation. Central heating replaced cold floors. Synthetic insulation became cheap. Survival skills turned into hobbies instead of necessities. Paper became trash again, not a tool. But history doesn't care what we forget. Cold doesn't either. When systems fail, the old lessons come roaring back. And, the people who survive are the ones who understand principles, not products. The deeper frontline wisdom. The real lesson isn't paper, it's mindset. World War II survivors didn't wait for perfect solutions. They used what worked. They tested. They shared. They adapted. Comfort was optional. Warmth was not. That's wisdom from the front lines, knowing that survival often depends on rethinking ordinary things, seeing tools where others see waste. Paper kept soldiers alive not because it was advanced, but because it obeyed the laws of heat better than blankets ever could. Why this still matters right now is, cold emergencies haven't gone away. Power failures, vehicle breakdowns, displacement, storms, these things still happen. The same conditions soldiers faced still happen to civilians every year. And when they do, knowledge weighs nothing. Remember this one, the forgotten insulator, the silent layer, the thing no one brags about but, everyone who used it respected, because it worked. If this kind of hard-earned history matters to you, you're in the right place. Go ahead and subscribe to Wisdom from the Front Lines, share this with someone who thinks survival is all gear and no knowledge, and stay sharp. The past still has lessons worth listening to.